GMAT, I had two things in my mind. First was I wanted to know what kind of abilities would the GMAT exam test, and second was what are the areas which I have to focus on. During this preparation, I realized two things. One is that GMAT exam is not about that rigor and working as hard as you're required in, say, an exam like CAT. So GMAT is more about the street smartness. It's more about presence of mind. It's more about knowing when not to do something and knowing when to give up. So one important thing which becomes very critical in GMAT is the time management. You have allotted time, and beyond which GMAT penalizes you heavily if you cross that limit. So manage not only knowing the question, knowing the answer or the ability to do that, but also to do that in a given time frame is something which characterizes this exam. This is something which would come by practice. Not like doing thousands of MCQs the way we are trained to do in our entire academic career, but to ensure that the concept that we build over time, it comes at the required necessary speed so that we are able to crack it in the given time limit. One of the important strategies during the GMAT preparation was that equal emphasis has to be paid on quantitative and verbal. In the initial days, whenever you will start preparing, you will figure out what is the strong section and what is the weak section. Important thing is to focus on the weak section first, because a good score in your strong section might be hampered very badly by an average score in the weak section. So this was something I suffered in the first my GMAT exam, when my verbal score wasn't that great. So I specifically worked on it in my second attempt. The strategy that I followed in my second GMAT attempt was to go ahead with the weaker section upfront, because that is the time when you are fresh, and if you've taken the morning slot, then your mind is fresh and you are sitting with the exam with a blank mind. Your weaker section would deserve more attention compared to your stronger one, which can be handled aptly by you. This was what I followed in the subsequent attempts that I gave for my GMAT. If we talk specifically about the two sections, the verbal and the quant, verbal section, the three types of questions that are there, I find the sentence correction as the most important and the most scoring ones. The reading comprehension questions can be equally scoring, but the understanding of the overall concept has to be there for an RC. This is not the pattern which is followed by the other exams, where a straight pick and drop approach can be followed. Here you will have to understand what the paragraph is trying to say. CR questions again are based more on common sense. A lot of us would initially I used to get confused because of the technicalities of the points which the CR questions were throwing at me. Later on in the preparation phase, I realized that over and above the technicality, it is the common understanding of what the CR question is trying to tell you. So try and maintain your calm and let the common sense persist while you are addressing such verbal questions. In the quant, I am not having that mathematics background for the past 10 years. So quant was initially a bit of a trouble for me, but going ahead with the practice, maths is always about practice. So developing these concepts using good practice materials, official guides, and whatever help that you can garner from. So these things would keep you constantly in touch. One of the most important points which I figured out off late was that studying for 8 hours one day and then not studying for say 4 days would not benefit much in such an exam, where say a 2-hour study every day would be much more beneficial. So this was my strategy. AWA and integrated IR, the sections, these can be handled very easily if you have a thorough understanding of verbal and quant. Some structuring in the essay writing and the analytical writing part, the AWA, is needed, but this is not something which any candidate needs to worry about. If you have a strong hold on verbal, then you will automatically be able to sail through that. So this was my strategy for each and every section of GMAT exam.
One thing that I had in my mind was I'm an engineer by training, so I must be better at quant. compared to my capabilities in verbal. So I was with that in mind, I was already preparing for some verbal some portions of the verbal paper. And then during the classes, I focused mostly on whatever was going on in the classes. One of the things that I did not know earlier, and then I got to know while I was giving mock tests on EduShastra platforms and another platform, was that the word problem portion contains most of the questions in the exam. So almost 50% or 40% of the problems come from the word problem part. And I had not studied that for a long time after school. So when I gave 2 or 3 mocks and I was consistently performing poor in quant, then I looked at what were the portions that I was not good at, and then word problems was one of the portion, and I was almost always my performance was less than 50% accuracy in that portion. So I got a book and then I started reading word problems, and then that way I improved. So I think giving mock tests at regular intervals can be a good idea. That can give us the understanding of what are the portions that we are weak at, what is the weightage of that portion in the in exam and other things.
During my exam, I realized that I had to like read those questions, like some of the questions I had to read twice over. That actually took a lot of time. And towards the end of the exam or the period, I didn't have enough time, and there were like a couple of questions that I had to like leave. So that actually has an impact. So everyone knows that. So what I did was, of course, I selected, I didn't want to like get those negative score, but then eventually like my overall score got impacted because of that. Though that initial, I said like I spent a lot of time on the questions itself. So I came out like, of course, when I started preparing for the next round, I would say one of course, like I gave a lot of tests, I did a lot of practice for those difficult level questions, but then also I focused on meditation. So I spent like for those entire 1 month, I like just YouTube, Google, of course, like I had taken a lot of like Art of Living meditation courses, and I'm not saying like everyone go out and start taking those, but there are a lot of like open videos you can find on YouTube and other places. So just try to like see if you think that while during the practice test, if you think like you are not able to like focus on the questions in one attempt, you're not able to understand what exactly is required, what actually is asked. So please focus on your meditation or your concentration. That is very much important. Next time exactly that happened. So I whatever I practiced in terms of like those practice exams and my meditation, it actually like bore fruits. So I was able to like quickly grasp the gist of the question and go to the options. I didn't have to like go back, do any such other thing. That's the whole reason like I could actually like score that much. So these are like couple of things like that I think should be shared.
Hello, my name is Piyush Bhandari and I am a IIT Patna graduate. I recently started my GMAT preparation around 4 months back, and I joined EduShastra. I gave my GMAT exam and scored a 760, quant 50 and verbal 44. I attribute my success to EduShastra and Mr. Hassan Raja. He was really crucial in my GMAT preparation, and he really helped me, and his advice was really helpful for the verbal part of the GMAT. The main thing about EduShastra is that the batch size is quite small, and the personalized attention that individuals get from the teachers is really helpful for the preparation. I'd like to thank my success to the Adi Shastra community and my batchmates.